Hi everyone, Megan here from Beguiled by Books, and today I'm going to go through the Goodreads winners and tell you my thoughts and the books that I've read and I have on my TBR. Let's get started. So on December 7th, 2023, the Goodreads winners were announced after a couple rounds of voting. And this year, there were a ton of great books up for the awards. And I'm super excited to go through the categories with you and talk to you a little bit about those that I have read and that I hope to read. And then, of course, get your thoughts. I'd love to hear what you think. So first up, we have Best Fiction that won. That is Yellowface by R.F. Kuang, and that was a fantastic book. I really struggled in this category because I also read The Wishing Game by Meg Schaefer, and that is definitely one of those books that I recommend all the time. And I also have The Collected Regrets of Clover on my TBR. It's right over there, as well as I'm looking at my list here. Evil Eye as that was on the list. So there were a lot in this category that were very deserving of the winner, but Yellowface won. It was a fantastic book. It was unputdownable and just a really interesting discussion around the publishing industry, around plagiarism, around race. Really powerful book, so definitely deserved. The next category that Goodreads has is Best Historical Fiction. And the winner for that category was Wayward by Amelia Hart. That is on my TBR. It looks amazing. I see it at my local bookstore all the time, and I think I really should read that book. And I just haven't yet. I got it from Book of the Month, but I just haven't gotten it on my TBR yet. So there were some really great contenders in this one, but Wayward won and was, I'm really looking forward to reading that one. The next category is Mystery and Thriller. I don't read a ton of mystery and thrillers. I've shared that before. I know that's a really popular genre for a lot of people, but I can't really speak to it. The Housemaid's Secret won. I know that I believe that is the second of kind of that Housemaid series that people are absolutely raving about. I have it on my TBR. I definitely want to check it out. But I can't really speak to the genre very much. I was kind of hoping that I Have Some Questions for You would win, but again, I don't read this genre, so I certainly don't want to just make up stuff that I don't know what I'm talking about. The next category in the Goodreads Awards is romance, and romance won with Emily Henry's Happy Place. I've heard a ton of really good things about Happy Place and Emily Henry's writing. I haven't read it. But again, I don't read a ton in the romance category. I fall more into the fairy smut category. So again, I don't want to speak to things that I don't really know about, but I'm happy for Emily Henry and the fans. Now, the books that I was most excited about fall into the next category, which is Romantasy. So romance fantasy. No surprise, the winner was Fourth Wing. Breakout hit. I mean, absolutely everyone is raving about it. I love Fourth Wing. I know there are some haters out there, and that's totally fine, but really fantastic book. Iron Flame, the second in the series, was amazing. And there are a ton in this category that I wanted to win, including Fourth Wing. They're just all so good. So Zodiac Academy, The Hurricane Wars, The Jasad Heir, Foxglove King was good. Rule of the Aurora King by Nisha J. Tooley was good. So there are just a lot in this category that easily could have won, and really happy about all of the nominees, and the winner, of course, being Fourth Wing was fantastic. And then the next category was fantasy. So I love how they broke up romantasy and fantasy. I think that's a really smart move because it's hard to compare those two genres. And the winner for fantasy was Hellbent. And I love Leigh Bardugo. Hellbent was a fantastic novel, really gripping. Her first book in that series, Ninth House, was amazing. Hellbent, I was really happy that that was the winner. But again, tons in this category that were so good. Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. I recommend that book all the time. It's so wonderful. A Day of Fallen Night by Samantha Shannon, which is the second in Roots of Chaos series. I haven't read that yet, but it is on my TBR. Bookshops and Bone Dust, again, on my TBR. The Fragile Threads of Power by V.E. Schwab, who's one of my all-time favorite authors. Have not read that one yet, but that's on there. Swordcatcher, Cassandra Clare, again, an amazing TBR list that I am compiling here. A book I have read that I loved was The Adventures of Amina al-Sarifi by Shannon Chakraborty. That was a fantastic book that easily could have won as well. Starling House, Unmaking of June Farrow, Inkblood, Sister Scribe, Last Tale of the Flower Bride, Witch King. My TBR is basically this category. So I am just delighted to see all of these nominees, and I'm validated by my choices. So I hope you find some good things from these nominees to put on your TBR, because I think there are a lot of really good ones. The next category after fantasy is science fiction. And again, I don't read a ton of science fiction. I'm always a little surprised by the books that fall into the sci-fi category. The winner was In the Lives of Puppets by TJ Klune, and I love TJ Klune's standalone novels, including House in the Cerulean Sea and Under the Whispering Door. And In the Lives of Puppets was really lovely. I was really happy I got to read that earlier in the year, and that won the category. I actually voted, I was really between In the Lives of Puppets and The Future by Naomi Alderman, which I just read, and I voted for The Future. I thought that was really good, but there are some other really good ones that I have on my TBR. I've got Bridge, which was nominated. That's over there too. And Deluge, which has been making the rounds as a good one. And Changing All Stars has come up in my recent searches and is on my TBR. So again, a lot of really good ones in this category. Next up is horror, and I don't read horror very often. Stephen King's Holly won, which Stephen King's fantastic. I read Fairy Tale earlier this year and really enjoyed that. Not a horror book, but still good. But there are a ton of books that I see, and my friends who do read horror are really happy about. But I really can't speak to this category, but a lot of things that I know people really love are here. So really happy to see everything get nominated. And again, it's a great place to find books for your TBR if you're looking. Then we get into some young adult fantasy and science fiction. I don't read a ton of that, but Divine Rivals won that category, which again is also on my TBR. I've heard if you liked Fourth Wing, you'll love Divine Rivals. So looking forward to reading that really soon. And then some more Cassandra Clare on here. Other books that are on my TBR, like What the River Knows. I actually voted for Foul Heart Huntsman by Chloe Gong because I have read that one and I really enjoyed it, as well as Spice Road. That was a really good one I read earlier this year. So again, tons of great things for your TBR, or if you've read them, I'd really love to know what you thought of these in the comments below. After young adult fantasy and sci-fi, there's young adult fiction. Definitely a category I don't read often. Ellie Hazelwood with Check and Mate did win this category. I personally voted for Five Survive by Holly Jackson. I really enjoyed that one, but I didn't read a lot of the other ones, so I certainly can't speak to it. But again, if you like young adult fiction or you're getting something as a gift for someone, might be a great category for you to investigate there. Then there was the debut novel category, and this one was tricky because there are ton of fantastic debut novels that came out this year that were really outstanding. Much like historical fiction, Wayward by Amelia Hart won the debut novel category. So wonderful. Yet another reason I need to read that book sooner rather than later. But some other ones were Inkblood, Sister Scribe. Let's see, Changing All Stars, The Collected Regrets of Clover. So a ton of really interesting topics. And again, just the debut novel category I really like. Because it's hard to write a book and get it published, so it deserves to be celebrated. Then in the nonfiction category, we have the winner, which was Poverty by America by Matthew Desmond. I read his another book by him called Evicted, and that was a really powerful story. Not exactly uplifting, but powerful. I'm not surprised that that book won, but there were a lot of really fun ones in this category. I do love nonfiction. Outlive by Peter Attia is on there, which is one of the ones that I recommend very regularly. The Creative Act by Rick Rubin. I just read that recently, but will be one I recommend frequently to others. And some other ones were Hidden Potential. I've recently read that, which was excellent. But again, several really powerful nonfiction books on here. So if you want to get into nonfiction, definitely a good place to start because these nominees are excellent. Then the memoir and autobiography category, Britney Spears, The Woman in Me won. I have not read that. I've heard so much about it. I feel like I've read it. Probably won't get around to reading it, to be honest. Lots of really good memoirs. Sometimes I read them, sometimes I don't, but I have a lot of these on my TBR, but I will get to them when I get to them. And again, really great place for some good ideas. Then we have the history and biography category. I go through fits and starts when it comes to history and biography. So sometimes I read it, sometimes I don't. I don't know almost any of these books in this category this year. The winner was The Wager, A Tale of Shipwreck, Mutiny, and Murder by David Grann. I don't know anything about that book. So there are a lot on here, but I don't know much about them. So again, can't really speak to it. Then of course, in the humor category, which is always a great one to end on, the winner was Henry Winkler's Being Henry, The Fonz and Beyond. And I haven't read that one, but I've heard wonderful things about it. He actually came to the Raleigh-Durham area very recently for a talk put on by another local bookstore, Quail Ridge Books here. So I heard wonderful things from my local book community about that. And the humor category, which again, if you want nonfiction, but you don't want something maybe heavy or super fact-based, humor is a great category for you to get into nonfiction. What of the Goodreads nominees and winners have you read? Do you want to read? Have you added anything or found anything to put on your TBR from this? Let me know in the comments, drop one below. And as always, if you like this video, I would appreciate a like and a subscribe to my channel. Thanks and have a great day.